Hi, I'm here with Mike Petrovich from Chevere. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, it's Mike Petrovich from Chevere. So it's a
Chevere. Okay. I'm doing this episode. Basically, I'm wanted to reach out to local businesses to basically spotlight those good businesses that because the pandemic has really hit businesses hard, and so I've actually been using this to hopefully get them more traffic to their business. So getting them people calling because everyone seems to be staying at home now from the pandemic. Uh, Mike, I want to ask you, where exactly are you from?
I'm actually born and raised on the Lower East Side of New York City. I
Okay.
was born there 1964. I'm 56. Born and raised in a building uh, right in front of the Williamsburg Bridge, 172 Delancey Street.
Wow.
So I've lived in the neighborhood practically all my life. I've seen the change. I've seen the cultural change. I've seen and but I am proud to be OG from the LES.
Wow. Uh, and I know that you started your business. How long did you start geez, my God. You say the name.
Chevere.
Chevere.
So Chevere was a concept that was came to me via one of my daughters. Actually, they told me, Dad, why don't you go ahead and open up a business? You know how to run a business. Why don't you do a business? Let's do a restaurant business. I was like, that's crazy. Restaurants are the number one things that fail, if you don't do it right and all that stuff. But later that night, I'm talking to my wife, and I said, hey, one of your kids told me to start a restaurant. What am I supposed to do? She goes, oh, that'd be great. Name it after my dad. I said, your dad? Manuel Chevere? Yeah, man, name it after my dad. I said, babe, no one's gonna go to a restaurant that eats that is named Manuel Chevere. But you know something, I told her. I said, if the restaurant was named Chevere, which means how great or how fantastic, they'll come. Had my little Jackson Pollock moment, went to LegalZoom, went to GoDaddy, actually went to GoDaddy first to make sure the name was available, and it was, and I created Chevere right there and then. The company got established August 31st of 2018.
Wow.
So that's the history of how I got it together, and there's more after that. Well, that was a bunch of conversations with a bunch of people, from 80-year-olds to young people, like, what do we have? Because the Puerto Rican menu, the Puerto Rican cuisine is so intense. It could be so many things. I would literally need, thousands of square feet of a back end to go ahead and operate a restaurant with Puerto Rican cuisine. And where I decided to open up the location was only 310 square feet.
Oh my God.
So there was some things that we could not do, and there were things that we could do, but we've adapted since then, and now we've streamlined it, and we know what we're doing, and we have a very successful menu right now.
So, what are some of the successful things on your menu?
My number one seller is our pernil, which is roast pork. Our roast pork is marinated for days, sitting in a QC blend of sofrito sauce, and then it gets put in the oven at a slow cook, and when it comes out, it just shreds. I mean, it just literally shreds, and that taste that you taste, there's no real fat in the serving. We try to limit the fat down, trying to be health conscious, because everyone knows Puerto Rican food is, oh my God, it's comfort food. You eat it,
Yes.
You better have a bed next to you and stuff. Or if you go to work and you're at lunch, you better have an active job. But it is our pork, is our number one seller. Literally from day one through today, we've probably sold 3,000 portions of our pork, which doesn't sound like a lot, obviously, with the pandemic. But that is a lot for us and for the time that we were open and during the time that we were closed.
Well, I've been buying pork at least once a month since I found out about you guys.
Good, good. Great to hear.
What other stuff do you offer?
I mean, well, where my concept was, I want to feed people. I want to give them a good portion.
Okay.
So our bowls are 32 ounces of food, which is a lot. It's moderately priced, and I believe that, you know, we serve what we think we can now from that space. So we have the pork, we have the rotisserie chicken. I invested in the rotisserie chicken. I said, I don't want to fry whole chickens. I don't want to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken. I want to make my chicken really taste. Our chicken is also absorbed in a sofrito sauce for multiple days and then cooked on that rotisserie uh, and served. We also have steak. We have skirt steak now. We've added a pork chop. We didn't have a pork chop last year. We have now a fried pork chop this year. We have our chicharrón de pollo, which is a complement to many of our dishes, including our mofongos. And we also do vegetarian because we also know that we're in the Lower East Side, and in the Lower East Side, there is clientele that want to eat healthy. Not saying that my food is not healthy, but healthy in a way that, I want some of that Puerto Rican food, but I want to eat it in a better way. So yeah, our bowls, we offer mofongos. Mofongos is smashed green plantain.
Okay.
After it's been fried, it's mixed with pork, it's mixed with chicken. We've added the steak, we've added shrimp. Shrimp mofongo is our most popular
Hmm.
mofongo because it's
Okay.
basically shrimp draped over some fried green plantain with seasonings and garlic. It's delicious, and it's also a handful. I've watched all these shows on TV where everything is a gimmick. I say, well, I don't have a gimmick. I'm not going to have a gimmick, but I believe my gimmick will be that I'm going to give you your money's worth for what you're buying.
I definitely, I definitely feel that way. Um, so far, since you're, since you've been open, how has the pandemic affected your business?
Well, it's affected me in some good ways and in some bad ways. The bad ways were that some employees had to go. Basically, I hired a chef that was world renowned and cooked for celebrities and all that because I knew that I had to start the business with someone that knew what they were doing. So, ironically, at the time of the start of the pandemic in March, we were ordered to close March 15th. So he actually went on maternity leave a week before to have his first baby, and he survived because of insurances and PPP money and all that stuff. So he's still on board today. But everybody else was a sad, rude awakening that I could not take care of them in any financial way as I just started up. So a lot of them collected unemployment, but a lot of them collected unemployment other than from my company because I had just started the company. So the ones that were a little bit heartfelt were my two daughters. I had my two daughters working with me,
Wow.
and they were very dependent on that income. But one daughter was able to go ahead and find a great job, and she's still employed to this day.
Okay.
And my other daughter ended up telling me, "Hey, I'm having a baby." I was like, "Great!" Okay, so I am the proud grandfather of grandson number 7,
Wow.
Ezra Lorenzi, and they're getting married in October. And my daughter is well suited now. She's finishing her college, and I still assist. Obviously, family's family, and I help wherever I can. But it was a good separation of family because at the same time, the family was driving me crazy at the restaurant. So, as they say, it's not good to work with family in restaurants. I agree with that, and now I'm glad that it happened. Sad that some of my other folks had to leave, but everyone's lived on. Like my cashier's got a great job doing data analytics for some company. One of my guys joined the army, so he's serving our country. So everything worked out. I didn't have a big staff to begin with. I only had like 7 people, and it all just worked out. So it's kind of eerie how it all just happened.
Wow. I wanted to let's see. Why did you choose having your business located in the Lower East Side?
That's a
Is it
long.
is it probably because you live there, or is it something
Yeah,
else?
no, it's twofold. So I develop a concept, I develop an idea, I start doing catering gigs, I start to get more official. Hey, I would like to get this type of insurance. I like to get this. I like to be certified. I like to, have a food license. Well, Mr. Petrovich, apparently you can't do that from your kitchen. You need a place. I was like, what? What do you mean I need a place? Well, you can't cook from your kitchen because the city won't allow that. Okay. So then I started looking for places, and I said, well, I'm an LES guy. It's got to be in the LES. That's going to be my story. That's going to be what I'm doing. And I started finding a place on Houston Street that used to be an older restaurant. And I started negotiating a lease with them. But when I gave my lease papers to my attorney, he says, Mike, you're obviously dealing with a guy that has been renting buildings in New York City for 70 years. You can't even read the lease. The lease is this small in writing. It's a 29-page, 54-page lease.
Oh my
And,
God.
he's trying to rail you into something that you will not be able to afford if something happens. So I started panicking. Like, damn, I've got a trend going. I've got this going. And then I said, wait a minute. Down on Essex and Delancey, they're creating this whole food complex. Let me give it a try. So I looked at the website and it says, hey, become a vendor. I was like, oh, okay. Hit the button. Told them, hey, I'm a born and raised Lower East Side Puerto Rican native trying to bring Puerto Rican food back. I was in the military for 6 years. It served in the Marine Corps, traveled the world, trying to bring this cuisine back to the Lower East Side that's been gentrified with so many European spots and taco places and all that. And at the same time, I support autism awareness. I have a child that has autism. I have a grandchild that has autism. And part of my proceeds will go to autism awareness. They called me up. Mike, we love your story. You want to do a site visit? I did a site visit. I'm the last vendor before prior construction to occur. And they told me, well, we got this corner spot. I looked at it. It was 310 square feet. I was like, okay, let's do it. And then in my background with my other job, I designed the space using my architectural software. And I designed it in a way that it was almost like a Chipotle style where you place your order and then your food gets put together and then you're out. And that's why I kind of decided to do it on the Lower East Side. Besides the fact that my current location at the market line underneath Essex Market was a fish market. So my dad used to take me there as a kid. And I never liked going there because, come on, Maikito. He called me Maikito. Maikito, come on, we're going to the fish market. And I would go there, and it was just a smelly place with a bunch of men selling fish, and almost like Seattle where they throw the fish. Hey, you want a halibut? Here you go, whoosh! And the fish was flying. And it was just, I didn't like going there because it smelled. And my father, one of those days, bought octopus because he was going to make, in Spanish, pulpo. So we buy it, we go home. I'm in my room playing whatever games I'm playing in the 70s, Batman, I guess, I don't know. And in 172 Delancey Street, no less, which was one of the older tenement buildings. And he says, Mike, you want to try some? And I go into the kitchen, and it just freaked me out to this day that a tentacle was sticking out the pot wiggling. I don't eat no seafood now. No shrimp, no lobster, nothing. I've never acquired the taste. It just freaked me out. But that is my memory of my current location, of where I'm at. It links all the way back to the 70s, where I saw him cooking that octopus and the damn tentacle was sticking out. I'm done. I am done.
That's funny. About your, I've been reading about your sauce lately. I've been getting your newsletter. Tell me about that.
Well, hot sauce, yeah. When we were trying to come back from COVID, we're like, should we focus on our sauces? Because every order that comes out of our store comes with 4 different sauces in 1 ounce little cups. But basically, we have a standard Puerto Rican known sauce, which is called the QC sauce, which is really kind of a mayo chup. You know, it's mayo, ketchup, and a little bit of spices in there. It gives it a nice flavor. But then we started getting requests with our fried plantains to get a garlic mojo. So we started doing a garlic mojo. And then we realized, you know, Maro knows how to make sauces. He knows how to spice it up. So we started then doing three other sauces: a creamy cilantro, a piqui verde, and a piqui rojo. And it turns out that there was a sauce competition occurring in late August. And if we wanted to register our sauces, we could register them and submit them for winning the Sauce King Competition 2020. And Sauce King accepted our sauces. And believe it or not, my two sauces won Best Startup, Best to Be Known Yet sauce. Like, in other words,
Wow.
our sauces are so good. Oh, Ready for Prime Time was what we won. So my sauces won. Not only that, the red sauce, the Pique Rojo, won first prize. And when they were making announcements, and by the way, the second prize, the gold and the silver goes to the Pique Verde. So I won the top two prizes of Sauce King Competition 2020 in September for having the two best sauces. And let me tell you that those sauces, I'm not a sauce guy. The red one I cannot handle.
I love all the sauces.
Oh, okay. I think the green one is on one of our sandwiches. It is good. So I can handle the green one, but the red one is too hot for me. But we introduced those sauces at Pig Island on Staten Island in 2020 of September.
Okay.
And guys were just coming up to us. They loved our food. We also won, like I said, best pork tasting at this competition, because we gave everyone pork and a little bit of our rice and gandulas, which is rice and pigeon peas, as a cup, and people kept coming up. That we ran out in 2 hours. This is our second time we did that. We ran out the first time in an hour and a half. This time there were more people, and we ran out in 2 hours. So next time we know, we got to change our concept, because people kept coming back like, "Do you don't have any more? Can I get any more samples?" But people were drinking the green sauce straight from the cup like shots of liquor. Oh my God, it's delicious. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you could do that, not putting it on food, but okay, props to my chef. So my chef and the sauces are winners. I mean, we've had, before we closed, we literally had people walk away and come back and say, "I need that green sauce, I need that red sauce." Like, they just wanted it. So now we're bottling it and we're selling it. I think it's $8 or something like that. We're not charging an astronomical price. It's in a 4-ounce squeeze bottles. We're trying to get a proper sauce bottle involved, but the creamy cilantro is not it'll be like ketchup. You really can't take it out. So we decided to leave it in the 4-ounce squeeze bottles, keep it real, like it's squeeze it, take it out. And I'm actually traveling down to visit some grandchildren next week, and my son-in-law's asked me, "You got to bring me that sauce." So yes, the sauces have become a little part of our stigma, and we're trying to see how we can actually make it more pro. Like, in other words, what are the ingredients? What's the calories? We're looking for someone to help us. We got guidance on that before. We haven't focused on that yet because we're focusing on coming back from COVID, and now it's a new year. We went through the holidays, and I don't want to focus my team's goals right now. We got the Valentine's Day coming up. So after Valentine's, we'll probably focus on the sauce setup.
Okay. Wow. How do you currently advertise your business right now?
So right now I have a young lady named Melanie that does all my social media. She's invited a bunch of influencers over to the restaurant. We've gotten reposts from those influencers. The marketing line itself posts a lot about us, as we're their top vendor there. Like, we sell the most. It's always us.
And people find your food on Grubhub or Uber Eats?
Yeah, so right now we're about to introduce Uber Eats actually tomorrow. It took me a bit to organize that platform, the back-end platform, compared to Grubhub. Grubhub's platform is a little more advanced, I guess. But we are on Grubhub and Seamless. We are on Uber Eats. I do have our own website. If you go to my website, chevere.com, you can order directly from there. It's strictly pickup, so that means you can order anything you want, but you will have to come down to our store to pick it up. We do advanced sales. In other words, if you want something for Saturday, you can book it for Saturday, pick it up on Saturday. We also have the weird distinction, because they're so popular. We have continued to sell our pasteles, which is a Puerto Rican delicacy during just holidays. But we sold 700 during the holidays,
Wow.
strictly from November to December. So I decided to keep it on year round, and they're labor intensive. But I have sold to date from January close to 75 orders of pasteles
Wow.
at 6 pasteles each for $25. So it's a great deal if you're in a hanking for eating pasteles. They're really good. I actually took the menu fillings and all that stuff from my mother-in-law, an 80-year-old, so she knows how to do them for many years. Then I gave it to my chef, and then my chef threw his twist on it, and we're getting a bunch of rants and raves about our pasteles. So we're not promoting that, so to speak, but it's on the down low that if you know us, it's available.
Okay. Let's see what else. Do you want to talk? I know that you mentioned Autism Charity before. Do you want to go into that a little bit more, or is?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I have donated over $10,000 since November 2019 when we opened. So, I'm a big fundraiser for them. Not as big as a corporate company. Obviously, if I was global, obviously I would give them even more. But my son was diagnosed with the spectrum back when he was 5. It's challenging. I kind of look back at my life when I was a teenager and when I would travel to Puerto Rico. And I traveled to Puerto Rico and I had a cousin who they called stupid or slow. He wasn't stupid or slow. He had the spectrum of autism. Thus why it's near and dear to my heart. I could start crying in a moment when I start talking about it. My son is high functioning. He's going to be my little Rain Man, AKA Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man with Tom Cruise. And I'm going to take him to Vegas. He's going to tell me, Dad, play that card. And we'll do that. But, and then my grandson is lower functioning. He barely speaks, but he's coming around now with therapy and all that. And also during this whole pandemic, my son has had to seek extra therapy because he's been locked up in the house for a year. So it's kind of like, it's the only reason why I decided to do a restaurant. It wasn't because, my food tastes good. I didn't know I was going to have a good chef. I didn't know I was going to have a great logo, which the logo is my father-in-law, Manuel Chevere. Since my wife bugged me so much to name it after him, the logo became him. So that is Pop, which is his nickname. So Pop is our logo. And, it's all about that. To me, it's all about family. Why I started this, why I did it for Autism Speaks. I know that tomorrow there's an award ceremony happening virtually, and I'm going to possibly get shouted out as being one of those individuals that just cares about the autism awareness and stuff. And I know that once we get back to having customers come back into our space, they're going to appreciate that I'm doing that. I mean, the best that I can. Once again, I'm not, what's the guy, Bezos from Amazon, but I give what I can, and I've done what I can, and whenever I can, and it is an important thing to Chevere. My employees actually do not accept the tips. All tips go to autism awareness. Wow. So that's how dedicated we are and stuff.
You've been mentioning your chef a lot. Do you want to say something about your chef?
Chef Mara?
Yeah.
He's the bomb. I got lucky. I mean, I interviewed a person before that from Jersey, started telling me about commuting issues. I was like, okay, you're scaring me. I'm in the Lower East Side. You got to, commute to New Jersey. And then Chef Maro came in and he did his take on pork and rice, my staples, pernil with arroz con gandules. And he did it so well. Not as well as he could have, because obviously he was out the box. And he actually tells me to this day, Mike, when I got your request to come interview, all I studied was cooking Puerto Rican food. For 2 days, I was just and what I like about Chef Merrill is that he believes in the concept. He's not one of these guys that go, been there, done that, been there, done that. This is all new to him. And I throw him I throw him curveballs all the time. Okay? I throw him, hey, we're going to make pasteles for the holidays. Mike, I've never made pasteles. How do you do that? I'm going to show you. I'm going to get my 83-year-old mother-in-law, videotape her making them, and you put your take on them, and he's made them even better. He makes them bigger. He makes them fluffier. He makes them, properly seasoned. When you get above 80 years old, you lose your seasoning touch. So he brought that touch back, and lo and behold, we're reaching 1,000 pasteles sold to date when we introduced them. So it's kind of like he brings a professionalism to my concept. And I knew that if I was going to introduce a new concept, especially Puerto Rican food, yes, there are little hole in the walls throughout the United States saying, hey, we're selling Puerto Rican food. I'm selling Puerto Rican food with a high level of expertise. Come into my restaurant and say, oh my God, this is even better what I tasted in Puerto Rico. I had a customer buy some food, walk away, come back 30 minutes later to say, this is so authentic, it blows my mind. I have a cancer survivor tell me that he ordered a chicharron bowl. It's either the bowl or the
but I've had that.
Okay, he took it home, ate it. He hasn't been able to taste food in 3 years.
Wow.
And come back to tell Merrill, do you believe that your food awakened my food taste buds? He was just back the other weekend. He's an older gentleman. We gave him a t-shirt. He loves Merrill because Merrill reinfused his food buds. So bottom line, I knew from the beginning, I needed a real chef. And when Chef Merrill came to me, I was like, okay, he says he knows how to cook. Let's find out. Well, wait a minute. He's cooked for Carlos Santana, Mick Fleetwood, Steven Tyler, rock and roll people, Sammy Hagar, some eccentric millionaire on a boat in the Pacific for a couple of years. Yeah, I think I'm going to try myself on you. I didn't call nobody to find, how's Chef Merrill? He's a eccentric. Well, aren't all chefs. So, I decided to take my chance on him. I gave him a nice starting salary. He told me he was having his baby. Gave him health benefits. I paid for his health benefits as part of his compensation. And I hit the jackpot. Chef Merrill is a winner, and he's cooking up a Valentine's Day dinner for Sunday. And people are going to be ranting and raving, I'm sure, because I got a good chef. I got a good sous chef that used to work for him. And then I got another chef that got recommended. So I've got a 3-person team right now working at Chevere that are just blowing it out the water. And I don't have to do nothing. I'm not worried about that the food doesn't taste good. Obviously, you get my win-win. And even during all this pandemic, I actually gave them a raise. I said, thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate your efforts. Trust me when I say my staff likes to work for me, because I'm a people person, and I know that you could only be successful if you surround yourself with people to make you.
I don't know if you want this, but I'm going to ask this question anyway, so I'll cut it if you don't want it. You must have a story behind those pictures behind you painting.
Yeah, my Pulp Fiction pictures. So there is a story behind that. It's okay to ask, but John and Sam were sitting at an art store somewhere, and I went to the cashier and I asked them, hey, are those for sale? And they go, yeah, they're $250 each. I said, well, a little pricey, but I bought them because I thought they looked cool. It's my homage to Pulp Fiction. So then I brought them home and I hung them there. And then one of my daughters goes, why didn't he do Mia Wallace? I said, I don't know. I didn't think about that. Should I ask him? So I befriended the artist, and then he did me Mia Wallace, also for $250. So I spent $750 on those 3 paintings, okay? And they're one of a kind. There's no duplicates, there's no triplicates, there's nothing. It's those originals. And bottom line, I love them. So when I'm interviewing Chef Merrill tells me, yeah, my wife does some sort of tantra yoga thing, and one of her clients is Uma Thurman. I said, brother, I need you to grab your wife to tell Uma Thurman to please sign her photo so I then could get John Travolta and Sam to follow Uma's lead and sign one-of-a-kind drawings of them via Pulp Fiction. I mean, they're so fantastic. They're oil on canvas. I keep them on my wall. It's a lot of stories whenever I have my Zoom calls. But bottom line, once again, I'm trying to leave something for my family. You know, it's all family driven. You know, we all know where we're going to go in the future. So I'd rather have something there of that. Obviously, the house and everything is great. Restaurant is great. But those little things count a lot. And I'm hoping that I do get her to sign it soon while everyone's on the face of this earth. You know, John Travolta, to me, you know, I'm born in 64. So in 77, I was 13. And I did do the "you should be dancing" moves. So I am a disco guy. Actually went to Studio 54 in New York City, snuck in as a 16-year-old with a cigarette and some big sunglasses. Lost a girl I went with that night. Got hit by my parents when I got home. Like, you're coming home at 7 o'clock. Where the hell you been? You know, so it's kind of like there is a story behind those photos.
Thank you.